There was a lot of excitement in Cleveland this evening for a very, very brief moment. By some miracle, the Browns were up 16-10 coming out of halftime against the Ravens. This anemic offense that averages 16 points a game somehow managed to put up 16 in the first half. Early in the third quarter, Dillon Gabriel leaves the game with a concussion, which opened up the door for the chosen one. It opened up the door for Deion's baby boy to come into the game and hold on to this lead. Red zone cut to Cleveland as Shedeur Sanders was walking onto the field for his NFL debut. Obviously, fans in Cleveland were ecstatic. Our Savior has arrived! The angel of our future is gliding onto the field! It's completely understandable why fans of the Cleveland Browns would be excited. This poor fan base has been dealing with substandard quarterback play for decades now. Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Bailey Zapper, John Driscoll. But my name is Jeff.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
PJ Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and perhaps the worst of the worst, at least recently, Deshaun Watson. Compared to this list of Hall of Famers for the bum squad, Shador Sanders looks like he can walk on water. Unfortunately, the excitement in Cleveland, it was very short-lived, because once Shedeur Sanders came into the game, it was an instant collapse. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. If you have Shedeur Sanders on your fantasy team, which at this point, the only fantasy player with Shedeur Sanders as their starting quarterback is Daddy Dillon Sanders. But if you happen to have Shedeur Sanders on your fantasy team, you lost today. In the second half, he completed 25% of his passes, 4 of 16 for 47 yards, with most of those yards coming on one completion late in the fourth quarter. He ended the game with a QB rating of 13.5. Things started off well for Shedeur Sanders, at least compared to the rest of his performance. His first play in the NFL, he completed a short pass. Unfortunately, on his second drive, he threw an atrocious interception. Kevin Stefanski is still trying to figure out who in the hell he was throwing the ball to. After what was an abysmal third quarter, Deion's baby boy had a chance to be a hero in the fourth. Ravens tied the game. Browns have the ball with about 4 minutes to go. Third down. Shedeur Sanders is penalized for intentional grounding, but that's okay. Cleveland's defense gives up a touchdown, giving the ball back to Shedeur Sanders with over 2 minutes to go. Second time's a charm, right? After his failed first attempt at being the hero, this is where the chosen one rises to the occasion. This is the part of the script where Shedeur Sanders leads a 2-minute drive. He drives the offense down the field, ties the game, sends the game into overtime where the Browns will most certainly be victorious. Unfortunately, this is not a scripted drama on Bravo. This is the NFL. Outside of a nice completion on the final drive, Shedeur Sanders was absolutely atrocious. He missed a wide open receiver in the end zone that could have been the game-tying touchdown with an extra point. He underthrew a simple short pass. He did make a catchable pass in the end zone at one point, but receiver dropped the ball. Basically, it was a less than inspiring debut for Shedeur Sanders, and that's me putting it nicely. I'm trying not to be too hard on him. He's a rookie, 5th-round draft pick. He's making his debut in the middle of the game. It was definitely a tough spot for Shedeur Sanders. And Shador Sanders played like you would expect a rookie to play in that spot. But here's the problem. There have been times throughout the season where Shedeur Sanders has been telling us that he has what it takes to be the starter. Remember 5-6 weeks ago when Shedeur Sanders said that he was better than some starters in the league right now? Remember when Shedeur Sanders said he could outperform most NFL starting quarterbacks? You know who doesn't talk like that? Starting quarterbacks. You know why? Because they let their play on the field do all the talking. If you're going to talk, you better be damn sure you can back it up. Deion Sanders, he could do that. Deion Sanders would tell you all week that he was shutting your ass down, and come Sunday afternoon, he would shut your ass down. Shedeur Sanders ain't there yet. He doesn't have the luxury of talking shit. Talking shit is a luxury you have once you're already established, once you've already made it. And based on what we saw this afternoon, Shedeur Sanders is a long way from making it. But KC, the Browns' offense sucks. Shedeur Sanders doesn't have any help. Yeah, you don't get to make that excuse at the NFL level. I watched Tyler Shuck last week playing behind an offensive line that mostly consisted of practice squad players, with his only real weapon being Chris Olave, who was the second or third option on a contending team. I watched Tyler Shuck elevate the Saints' offense. That's what quarterbacks at the NFL level are supposed to do. They're supposed to make everyone around them better. Now, in fairness to Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Shuck had a full week of practice. Hopefully, Shedeur Sanders looks better next week. I would assume with Dillon Gabriel being in concussion protocol that Shedeur Sanders is going to get the start next week. And look, I hope it is well. I'm pulling for Shedeur Sanders. I like the kid. There's no need to overreact to 2 quarters of bad football. But that also doesn't change the fact that what we saw today was bad. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.